I was running the largest events company in the UK. I was going to red carpet events. I was a presenter, an MC artist, and overnight I lost everything. So to fast forward my journey, I ended up co-founding a software company. We had 350,000 users in 6 weeks, which is faster than Facebook's growth. And people said, how did you do that?
From the Apprentice to AI pioneer, Sabrina Stocker went from UK's most watched TV show to losing everything overnight. She didn't quit. She rebuilt 350,000 users in 6 weeks, faster than Facebook. Now she's on a mission to save 10 million jobs with AI in a world replacing humans. She's teaching them to stay irreplaceable.
There's a huge cultural change where employees are scared to use AI because they haven't been educated on what it can and can't do, and they don't want to be replaced. So we built a training platform, and the big goal is to save 10 million jobs.
It was very good when I moved there in 2008. But what is happening with the UK right now? Welcome to the OG. We have today Sabrina Stocker. Thank you so much for coming. So, former contestant in The Apprentice. What season?
Season, I think 13 or 14,
2018.
14.
Finalist, actually.
Final 5, yes.
And then also professional tennis player and speaker at 1 Billion Summit and Mind Valley. Entrepreneur, currently developing a new AI platform that we'll talk more about it. Thank you so much for coming to the show, the OGs.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited because you're from the UK, you've been an entrepreneur all your life, you have a very interesting journey, you know. But let's talk very brief about from The Apprentice to today. How was, like, you started an apprentice and then you went COVID and then you reinvented yourself. And I saw you on the stage of Mind Valley. It was very interesting and very inspiring. But what is the best thing that you have done, let's say, in the last 10 years?
Well, the Apprentice was because I was such a super fan of the show.
Okay.
So both my parents are teachers. My dad was a professional snooker player. So he was like putting me in every single extracurriculum activity. And my mum is Indian. So I had to get full marks. So I grew up with a dad who was pushing me to do everything and a mum who was making me get the best grades. And I watched the show and I was like, I want to start a business one day. And I was so confident that I was going to be on The Apprentice that before applying, and in my year, this was before Amazon, before Netflix, before anything. And it was the #1 watched show in the UK.
Wow.
So there were 8 million views. There were 65,000 applications on my year. And before applying, I pushed back my MBA. I took 2 months out of all the events and I stopped all my work and I had no plans in my diary for 5 months.
Wow.
Because I knew I was going to go on the show.
What year was this?
This was in 2018.
Wow. Okay.
And I was on the show and I got to the finals and I was getting stopped like 50, 60 times a day in the street for selfies and for people to talk to me. And it was this crazy overnight, but really positive experience. And a year later, I was running the largest events company in the UK. I was going to red carpet events. I was a presenter, an MC artist. And overnight, I lost everything. And I basically like stopped when lockdown happened. So to fast forward my journey, I ended up co-founding a software company.
Okay.
We had 350,000 users in 6 weeks, which is faster than Facebook's growth. And people said, how did you do that? And I said, because of my personal brand and my understanding of PR.
Okay.
I started a PR company and 6 years later, I've traveled the world, worked with the biggest entrepreneurs, creators, and sat here with you.
And also you mentioned something talking about creators, very interesting, that you are organizing one of the biggest workshop for content creators in the UK.
So there's an incredible community in London called Creator Leaders. And we bring together the best creators within the UK ecosystem. And we ran a 100-person event. And in that room, oh my gosh, the most incredible minds last year.
100 people. There's a lot of people in one room. Sabrina, let me just dive into something that I want to ask you, because I used to live in the UK and it gave me one of the best years of my life. It gave me leverage when you're you're in the UK and you live there, and then you start to travel, you get a British passport. It was very good when I moved there in 2008. But what is happening with the UK right now? Why everybody's leaving? I think it was like 7,000 millionaires leaving. Actually, I saw the other day Rob Moore walking by the shopping mall, and he looked happier here than in the UK. What happened with the UK? What is happening?
Rob's a good friend of mine. He's
Yes.
a fantastic entrepreneur. There's, I think, two reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs in the UK are coming to Dubai. There is the reason for people wanting and moving for excitement. There's a lot of prosperity. There's different opportunities. It's a very international hub. But then there's also the reason of people leaving because they're being forced to leave. And I say forced in a very kind of gentle way. But the UK economy hasn't recovered from the pandemic. The tax incentives aren't there. There's a lot of crime going on.
Yes.
And actually a lot of my friends live here now in comparison to the UK.
The UK, yeah.
So for me, like one of the reasons why I'm looking at to moving here is because of the creator economy that's being built here, because it's a great international spot. And my friends are already here. So I think there's a big shift between wanting to come for prosperity, but then also wanting to move away from what I think needs a huge reshift in the UK economy.
Yes. Something that it was very interesting, you probably experienced this in the 1 Billion Summit, is before in my experience, when I used to be in the UK, I used to be afraid to create content, especially content for finance, crypto, all of that stuff. I've been fighting a lot with some organizations in the UK recently. They don't want to let you grow. So I left and I said, guys, I left already. I don't have to pay this. And they keep just chasing me. And there was a lot of people creating content, traders. All of them left the UK. And most of them, they live here or in Portugal or whatever. But then something that got my attention as well is the press in the UK. The press is brutal. They judge you. They can't take you down, tear you apart. It's insane. Why they're like that? Why they haven't, especially with social media right now, I think we're getting better, but still we have the old press, I don't know the names, the Sun. Or why they're so horrible?
The UK press scene is make or break. And they're finding the story and they're finding the click over the person. And I think it's a cultural thing because in the UK, we celebrate the person building, but once they're there and they have the level of success that we've been positively building them up for, they bring them down and they find a reason to bring them down. And it's also, you're not in control of the press in the UK. So I had this interview for The Sun actually, coming off The Apprentice. And I'm telling them, I'm on the phone with them about like how we're not getting much sleep and it's been this incredible but intense experience. And there was one night and I had the choice of doing my hair or getting another 30 minutes sleep because I had 4 hours of sleep. So I took the 30 minutes.
Of course.
And I looked like I'd been dragged through a hedge. And we did the task and the task went great. Next day in the headline, Sabrina looks like dragged through hedge.
On the headline.
With a screenshot of like, Hermione Granger hair. And I think, I would love to see us being more positive in the press and building entrepreneurs and sharing success stories instead of figuring out why something is or isn't working.
Yeah, they're always looking at external parties to blame something else. Now, let's talk about something positive. Now you're here in Dubai. The sun is kind of shining. It's a bit cold these days in Dubai for us that live here right now. But let's talk about the 1 Billion Summit. You probably have this question a lot. I recently met one of the organizers of 1 Billion Summit that she deals with the speakers and partners and all of that. And then she was all very excited about people coming to Dubai. But now from your side, for somebody that haven't been in 1 Billion Summit or they don't know what is Mind Valley, but I saw Sabrina on stage and she was sharing her experience, her path, and how to uplift so many people through content, through LinkedIn. You're doing really well. And something we have a lot of imposter syndrome in us. And then, but you live that in the Museum of the Future, the whole audience. But let's tell people how you ended up at the stage of the biggest content creator summit in the world.
It was incredible. It was one of the most incredible experiences. And whether I am or I'm not a speaker and I'll manifest being a speaker again, I would 100% fly over because the amount of quality of talent and hard work of every single person attending that audience and trying to build in the creator space brings us energy. And then speaking wise, I've been a speaker for many, many years. And I met Vishen, actually, the CEO and founder of Mind Valley, at a health optimization summit in London.
Okay.
And he sat next to me and we talked. And then I brought out a side of me that I don't usually bring out, which is
Okay.
my geeky side.
The geeky side.
The
Okay.
geeky side that I used to hide away because I thought it was not cool.
Yes.
And was talking about funnels and strategies. And I end up working with Mind Valley and Vishen on their LinkedIn. And that's a project we'll be doing. And Vishen was like, this is so valuable. Can you come and share it with my audience tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I can, but I'm about to jump on a flight to Nicaragua. So 30 minutes before I'm about to jump on a flight, I'm on Zoom and I'm teaching at the Social Media Mastery Summit. And that was, out of all the incredible teachers, the third most watched video. And there was tons of feedback.
Wow.
So off the back of this, they said, would you like to come to 1 billion and speak on our Mind Valley stage? And I thought, wow, what an incredible opportunity to share what I'm super passionate about. And like coming out of speaking on stage, and I was a bit nervous, coming over.
TV in front of 1 million people.
Well, I think it was positive nerves, but as soon as I was in Dubai, I felt really at peace and excited to speak. And Mind Valley had 130,000 signups online. And in my session, about 15,000 people watched.
Wow.
So coming
Live.
off stage live on Zoom, as well as a full auditorium and a queue outside.
Wow.
And I just had like hundreds, if not like 1,000 messages and comments and people reaching out off the back. And I was like, wow, like I feel like bringing out my geeky fun me side of things and wanting to share that was really impactful.
So how big is your LinkedIn? Because that's what that you spoke on the stage. How big it is right now?
I mean, my LinkedIn following is very modest, but over the last 5 years, I've worked with the biggest creators and entrepreneurs in the space.
Okay.
So I've worked, for example, with Simon Squibb on his YouTube, and
everybody loves Simon.
Everyone, they do. He's an incredible entrepreneur, and like a lot of these big names that you see on socials, I've been part or somewhere on their journey as a strategist.
Okay.
Over the last few years.
Sabrina, let me ask you something. I never asked this to anyone, but you're British, right? And your mother is Indian. Now, I met a bunch of content creators and entrepreneurs, business owners in Clubhouse. So I remember in Clubhouse, it was a bunch of people. I won't mention them, but it was like a gang of British content creators, and they're very like niche. They don't want anybody to get in. And I know like 4 of them right now, but because I've been long time in the industry. Do you think British entrepreneurs has certain advantage because the way they speak, they're very eloquent, they inspire trust, right? Do you think you have an advantage against like somebody like from Australia?
Very interesting question. So in the UK culture, most of us are very, very modest. So therefore only like my network, who I don't shout out about, know who I am because of the people that I've worked with. But I'm not over here saying I've worked with X or I've made Y, which is a little bit different to maybe the American culture.
Yeah.
So there's that level of modesty that we have that I think we should start being more clear and shout out about the achievements that we've had. And I also think there's a big differentiation between founder first and creator first. So for me, I'm a founder first. I'm an entrepreneur and I'll always be building companies. And the creation side of me is, I would love to share this with the world. In comparison to a creator first, which is I've built a following and now I want to monetize my audience. So there's also 2 individual subgroups within the UK ecosystem as well.
For example, in my industry, not on trading on Forex, on CFD, but in crypto, most of the most successful content creators are British. Because as I said, they inspire like trust. It's like probably easier to trust somebody, a white guy in speaking with British accent, than a guy from a third world country speaking with an accent. I find that people don't see it that way. And then I have some of my friends telling me, no, but you use that as a power, like empowerment to empower the minority. I say, no, it plays a big advantage. But let me ask you another question, because I know we were talking this behind scenes. How challenging is being a content creator, female content creator in business. You started in The Apprentice, you know. That year was, I think it was the guy that was creating, no, it was Ricky, what was his name?
Ricky, but he was a different year.
Yes, but
Yes.
it was a man that won that year.
A girl
It
won
was
my
a
year.
girl.
Yes.
But how difficult challenge was there? Because more men than women starting there. And now moving forward all the way, I see, for example, more Mind Valley is more girls or boys. So my question is more, it has an advantage or disadvantage being a female entrepreneur right now?
Being a female in business has brought so many challenges. I cannot share that someone who does or doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And it's brought my own challenges. Men have theirs too. So, for example, when I was 21 years old, I was a tennis coach. I was studying my MBA. I'm earning £40 an hour. This is a lot of money to me right now.
It's a lot.
And like, I wanted to start this events company. And I kept getting asked, and this is 21 years old. I've got so much energy, so much bubbly. How's your little business going? Or are you still doing that little events company? When are you going to do something serious? And all these questions, and going on to The Apprentice, I had these limiting beliefs that I was too young. And then when I was on The Apprentice, do you know what I kept getting told? I was 22 years old and they were saying to me, you're very young for this process. You are the youngest person here. You've achieved so much from being this young woman. And it's reinforcing this like, oh, am I too young to do anything? And I wish I could have told myself, think bigger and use your youthfulness as your advantage.
Okay.
That's what I wish I had. So that was a big one. And then the second is the agency world. So now there's many women running agencies.
Okay.
But 6 years ago, I was 1 in 100 women being an agency owner.
But PR and marketing agencies.
PR marketing agency. And I had to, like, if I walked into a room, because I did have a bit of a brand, it was okay. But I still had to share what I was working on. I still had to push myself out there and be like, if I walk in a room, I have to be able to demand authority. And I've learned over the last 5 years that it's because of my femininity, because of the way I'm able to articulate, because I'm not a man and I'm a female pushing it in and I've been doing it for long. It's been really, really powerful.
Before we carry on, I want to take a moment to thank Pepperstone for supporting the OGs. Pepperstone has been a trusted name in trading since 2010, giving traders around the world access to global markets with tight spreads, fast execution, and professional platforms like MetaTrader, CTrader, and TradingView. What stands out about Pepperstone is their commitment to transparency, regulation, and excellence, quality that align perfectly with what we value here at the OGs. So to our partners at Pepperstone, thank you for believing in this community and for empowering traders to push the boundaries of what's possible. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, let me ask you another question regarding UK television, reality TV, because it has to be what you're talking about right now. I have another friend from The Apprentice. She's from Venezuela. Her name is Jemelin Artiga. You probably have met her or no. But then I remember a long time ago, we were discussing about the difference to be on The Apprentice and, for example, Love Island. You know, like you have seen like very good people or very, let's say, successful people like Maura Higgins and who is the wife of Tony Fury. What is his name?
Molly May.
They're doing amazing. Like but they grow their brand to clothing and modeling and stuff. But Jemelin, my friend, was telling me like the guy from Love Island or all they're not taken very serious by going to events, red carpets, and the guy from The Apprentice, even they are not that massive in terms of culture because people write to watch somebody in bikini, right? For 1 hour that watch somebody talking about a business idea. So how is that for you? Did you see that different when you start to go out to red carpets, and how you notice not only the press but the people like George, this content creator from Love Island or other non-serious TV programs?
I'm smiling because this is such a powerful question. The Apprentice versus Love Island. And there's 3 big differences in terms of how it is. So with The Apprentice, it's a very, very credible TV show in the UK. And there's, in my year, 65,000 people applied. So to be brought down to like the last 5, there's a certain level of, okay, she must have a bit of a brain somewhere. Now for Love Island, it's mainly built of entertainment. So they're more looking for the storyline, the drama, and being able to create that drama. So I think that they're 2 big fundamental shifts. And earlier we spoke around founder first and creator first.
Yes.
The Apprentice are founders first. So they're entrepreneurs who then build a following. Whereas Love Islanders, I think they're creators first, meaning they're building entertainment and then they monetize their audience. So I think they're 2 very different paths. And one time I remember going to this red carpet. Now, I don't watch reality TV. I didn't know who the Love Island and the Towies and the Only Way in Essex people were. And I'd go into a room and I was like so taken aback because they expected me to know who I was. And it just made me really not like PR events because I found from my experience, most of the reality TV stars I interacted with were very apprehensive. They didn't want to talk to you. They had an ego. They expected you to know your name.
Wow.
And interestingly, okay, long story short, really cool. I was invited to Jimmy Carr's birthday last year.
Oh, nice.
The comedian. Yeah. And I was like, I kind of wanted to go, but I didn't want to go.
Yes.
Because I had all these memories of these like really famous reality TV stars being maybe not the nicest people.
Okay.
And when I walked into the room and I walked into Jimmy Carr's room and I see the biggest stand-up comedians in the UK and all this talent, they were some of the nicest, easiest people to have conversation with because they were there because of their talent and their hard work.
Okay.
And that shifted my perspective. So I think there's a big difference between the reality side of things, founder first, creator first, and also the talent side of things.
But I think so. What you mentioned is very important because I think so people start to shift. It's not only based on how you look or your views, but I think so the economy, the content creation is about who you are.
Yes.
And let me ask you a question. What is the comedians in the UK? What is their names? What is the one that has the long hair?
Michael McIntyre?
No, the other one. He has his own show. So it's long story short, Simon Squibb, he went to the red carpet and asked him, "What is your dream?" And he didn't reply. And Simon had like, I don't know, 8 million followers right now. And this guy has very good like program for 20 years. He's very famous. I can't remember his name. He had like a lips when he talk. I can't remember. Anyway, long story short, he never replied. Okay. He asked him like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Never replied. And then I see Simon with Will Smith. So what I'm trying to say is I think so the content creation and the media is changing a lot. I like to talk about the UK because I live so long there. I was watching recently a program with Simon Cowell on Netflix.
Okay.
And he's trying to find the next pop star like One Direction, whatever he did with the X Factor and all these programs. But I find it cringe. I find that he's trying too hard. The guy's billionaire, multimillionaire. He launched all these big artists. And then he trying to do the same himself on Netflix with his wife and his team. But nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about this program. It's not like, I don't know, you have heard about it.
I haven't heard about it.
You see? And it's Simon Cowell. So I think so the content creation is changing from, okay, some people were really big in the traditional media, but that's not necessary anymore. I think so the content creator, for example, in Colombia, one of the biggest content, or I will say if not the biggest person in Colombia right now that's moving masses is a streamer. And he had like 3 million on Kick. And he just talk about Fortnite and gossip. These guys are moving the whole market more than a celebrity, more than somebody that's acting. So what are your thoughts, long story short, what is going to happen, especially in the UK, of creator economy, people big, not only on business, like Simon, but also I've seen so many young kids creating content and it's surpassing the traditional media.
It's really powerful point. And so I attended Simon Cowell's charity ball.
Okay.
And he was so lovely and he gave so many different people time. But Simon's from an era of TV and how the TV growth world was.
Yes.
And I was from an era of TV. And at that time, because Netflix wasn't there, because Shorts wasn't out, because our attention span was for an hour instead of for 10 seconds,
Yes.
it's changed the entire dynamic. And I
Yes.
have some very good friends who are the casting directors and the EPs of the biggest shows in the UK, Dragon's Den, The Apprentice, Bake Off. And there's a huge shift and a kind of a scarcity moving towards the fact that we're going to be watching YouTube shows now and on social media, and we have that choice. And our attention spans are,
all over the place.
Not there.
Yes.
So I think there's going to be a big shift now in terms of generations. Whereas the generation which I'm referring to is maybe plus 35, plus 40, who are the traditional TV generation. Then we have the millennials, the young people, the Gen Zs.
The Gen Z, yeah.
I'm not cool enough.
Young people is like 28. You are young people for me.
I'm a young people, yes. Sure. Who are now consuming content on Netflix, on socials, and that this shift will continue to be there. And I think the biggest shift over the next 5 to 10 years will be the most recognizable people will be the streamers, will be the creators, and the creators who are not just teaching entertainment or educational content, but they're sharing their lives because we're curious and we want to find out how other people's lives we were being able to see. And with AI coming into play, we have no idea about what that scope is going to look like. And I think it's going to change the entire industry and the TV industry as well.
Okay, let's talk about AI now that you mentioned, because it's very interesting. Now there was a massive influx of investment in AI. We have an AI university in Abu Dhabi right now. Everything happened with AI. And let's talk about the jobs. So before, obviously, everybody was looking to be a doctor or be on TV, and now everybody wants to be a streamer or YouTuber or Twitcher or whatever, But still, we need to have people with normal jobs.
Yes.
Imagine we're all streaming our lives, but we don't have doctors or we don't have accountants or lawyers. Who is going to take care of us, right? So it's very difficult in this economy, especially for the young generations, for them to find a path because they have all this glitter on their face about becoming a YouTuber is the best. Mr. Beast is making all this money. He's throwing out Lambos down the hill. And then you have content creators, for example, creating content about how to be better at maths or how to create, how to find a job. Or there is content creators trying to help other people trying to find jobs in certain areas. And you mentioned something that you're working on it, that you're trying to use AI to let people to find jobs easier. Mm-hmm. So let's dive into it.
Amazing. I think we have our heads buried under the sand, meaning we cannot keep up at all with any of the pace. We're a fly on the wall in comparison to what AI can do and what it will be able to do so fast. And I went through this, problem within my company, which was I was trying to get my employees and my team members to understand how to use AI with what they were doing. And I was like, well, if I have this problem, then other people are going to have this problem. So I started speaking to loads of founders and I said, what are you doing to teach your current employees how to use AI? And the answer was, we put in an AI officer, or maybe that's something we're going to do down the line. We're potentially speaking to this team, and there was no coherent answer. So I thought, okay, what is the biggest shifts that's happening in the next 3 years? The next 3 years is there's a load of redundancies, and some of my very good friends and my founder friends who run huge companies are talking about redundancies in the next year. There's a huge cultural change where employees are scared to use AI because they haven't been educated on what it can and can't do, and they don't want to be replaced. And then there's a whole shift in the job market, meaning a lot of jobs are getting replaced by agents.
Yes.
So my theory is there's still a problem of all of these amazing, team members and employees who need to learn how to use AI in order to stay competitive in the market. So we built a training platform, and the big goal is to save 10 million jobs by teaching the average employee how to implement no-code in AI in their everyday so that they can stay competitive and then they can use the tools rather than being replaced by them.
But this is not only about know how to prompt efficiently. It's more than that, right? So give us like a little bit of hint, because I know you probably have the MVP, you haven't launched it yet, but give us like how will it look like for somebody that let's say my auntie, she's 60 and she has her job all her life on TV. How she will benefit from this if she wants to learn about AI and don't go with all. For us, it's easier, but some people take too long the learning curve, right?
Exactly. I'm building this for my mum.
Okay.
So my mum is a great person. She's got an admin job. She's kind of curious about AI and she knows she should do something. But the idea of trying to figure out what YouTube video to watch or how to learn about it isn't there. And her boss isn't providing something. So we're working with the companies. What are the mass market things that everyone does? And how do we help them save time? So for example, with email, we'll say, you already know the basics and the strategy of email. Here's some no-code AI tools, how to use it very, very basically, and step-by-step walkthroughs. And we're partnering with the actual companies themselves so that your mum, for example, who's doing her emails can be like, okay, well, this is easy. This is okay. And the way that we're keeping the retention is gamification.
Okay.
So as they go through the modules, they earn points. Then their boss or their employer can see who's studying what modules. They can suggest different things and they create pathways. And then you're able to have your ongoing credits.
Okay. Sabrina, and what is going to happen? Okay, AI is changing the world. I also launching something with AI and gaming. I think gamification is the answer for everything, right?
Yes.
Gamification is very powerful. But talking about the future, we're in 2026, and a part of launching your AI company, AI product for everybody, how will see Sabrina in Dubai in 26?
In terms of
Are you moving here? Are you going to launch? Like, what are your plan for this year? So everybody that's watching and living in Dubai can reach out and start to connect with you.
Amazing. So I'm taking up a challenge this year,
Okay.
which is how do I become kind of the superhuman version of me? How do I become irreplaceable?
Okay.
So
Very difficult.
throughout this year, I have this huge purpose, this huge goal to save 10 million jobs. That's the
Wow.
what I want to do. But I'm also doing things on the side of that because it's not just my intellectual brain that I want to stimulate. It's also all of the other things that we learn on a psychological level. So I'm trying things completely different away from anything to do with AI.
Okay.
I've signed up to a stand-up comedy course, so I'll be trained in stand-up comedy.
Wow.
I've signed up to a improvised musical theatre course, so I'll learn how to be spontaneous, my body language, how to be a better speaker. I'm going to go live with a shaman for a few weeks.
Okay.
And learn my spiritual and shamanic journey. How do I incorporate these very different fun activities into making myself think differently? And when you think differently, you learn how to apply AI differently. So I'll be between London and Dubai for the next year, building these different things.
And if somebody's watching you for the first time on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, what is the message for somebody, let's say, a Sabrina from The Apprentice, when she was 18, is somewhere right now in the UK or anywhere in the world, and she's watching this, what advice would you give to somebody that's just getting started, that doesn't have a clue? Shall I become content creator, or shall I start to learn about AI, or shall I buy a course from a coach? What advice would you give to a girl that's trying to get to a certain point? Because it's too difficult. Men were more, we take risks. We just go and we just do it. But girls, they overthink too much, right? Because what the parents are going to say, or maybe I have imposter syndrome. You know how it is. So what would you tell somebody that's just getting started and want just to go?
3 biggest pieces of advice I wish I had 10 years ago. Number 1, we have the ability to create our own reality. And even if something external comes in, we have the ability to create how we're going to embrace that. So what our emotions going to do. So when we become extremely 100% internalized and we're in charge of the way our reality creates, or we're in charge of the way we react to it, it comes down to us. There's no tooth fairy.
There's no tooth fairy, yeah.
Right, there's no tooth fairy is number 1.
Yes.
Number 2 is to think bigger.
Okay.
When I made my first million, I was like, oh, okay.
Now what?
Well, I thought I'd feel more happier than this because I wasn't purpose-driven. So how do you become more purpose-driven and think bigger in your every single day? And your third is embrace being feminine. There are so many bros online who are saying build and work hard and hustle. We don't need to hustle. We can work around our cycles and embrace being us. And I think I say this because there's a lot of stuff online that's very fluffy. But the more we work as women and understand how our bodies work and our cycles work, we'll avoid burnout.
Okay. We probably will see Sabrina in a second episode of the OGs. We probably will dig more after you launch your AI application. But thank you so much for coming to this podcast and to the show. And we're very happy to have you in the UAE. UAE is welcoming with love. And UK is going to miss you a lot.
Thank you so much. And if anyone wants to reach out as well,
Sabrina Stocker.
yes, Sabrina Stocker on Instagram or LinkedIn.
Would you find her? She's very noticeable. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.